I'm working on the Hot Racing plus 4mm extended axles, and I got it all together, was testing it, turning the front, and I was getting all kinds of bucking on both sides. So I took one knuckle off and was just holding the extended pin as it rotated, still getting bucking. So I reinstalled the shorter drive shaft in the trio knuckle, put it on there, no bucking. So I just pulled it out and was like, what is different size wise? And I got to looking in there, and there's a freaking little O-ring, a little clear O-ring that sits in the cup. So I think that is exactly the little difference that was causing the Hot Racing axle to buck, because it does not come with one. So just a word to the wise, if you're installing these, transfer over this little guy out of the stock axle, or have another little micro O-ring handy. So anyways, I'm gonna get this together with the extended axles. Alright, the little micro O-ring that I found did not solve it, so here's the issue. So it's starting to buck and bind in both directions, and that's that extended axle. Well, I think this is the problem. The stock drive cup is on the left, and it's deeper. It's cut deeper than the extended axle Hot Racing. The slot doesn't go as far, and it's a 90-degree slot, whereas this one is rounded, the stock one. But the cup is the same depth, I think. If not, the Hot Racing cup may be a little deeper. It's just the slot isn't there. It's not as deep. That's got to be what's causing that kicking and that binding. So I don't know. I'm going to see if I can maybe file that down a little. Alright, little Dremel cutoff wheel. And I think we are even. The right side is the one I modified. The left side is the OEM depth. So I'm going to pop this in and see if it works. Alright, now the moment of truth. Let's see if that little Dremel action solved the problem. We're good, we're good, we're good. So full stop. Smooth as butter. Look at that. So nothing stopping it but the C-arm. Alright, so I've got to do the other side, but that fixed it. So as I was adding some of this counterweight to the rear, I was fitting in these Hot Racing axle weights, and on the passenger side I was getting just like a full stop bind when I tightened it, the nut down. So I actually shaved off some of the hex, the backside. I sanded that down. It was still touching, basically when you tighten it down, it was touching the weight that it was sitting against. So it was compressing everything. So I finally went back to the packet that they sent, and there's all these screws, these little silver screws that are flatheads. And I thought, you know, this is just junk they threw in there for some reason. But anyways, I ended up installing those as the bearing retainer screws on the opposite side that was binding. And this is fully tightened, no more binding. So there's a little bit of play on that weight. There's probably a millimeter so on the shaft, so it can slide back and forth. So you can see this side, I have not swapped those out yet. They still have those kind of pan head retainer screws on there. So I'm going to go ahead and swap those out. So that basically just tucks all those screw heads back more flush to the axle housing, so there won't be any rub when everything, you know, lines up on that axle shaft.